Welcome to Basic Science. Good day everyone. So let's talk about hydrometeorological hazard. So what is hydrometeorological hazard? Hydrometeorological hazard is a process or phenomenon of atmospheric, hydrological, or oceanographic nature that can endanger human lives and threaten human property. So hydrometeorology is a branch of meteorology and hydrology that studies the transfer of water and energy between the land surface and the lower atmosphere. These are the types of hydrometeorological hazard. The first one is cyclones, monsoon, flooding, and the last one is tornado.
The types of hydrometeorological hazard. Cyclone is a large-scale air mass that rotates around a strong center of a low atmospheric pressure. Cyclone form because of low pressure area. Tropical cyclones is a rapidly rotating storm system characterized by a low pressure center, level of atmospheric circulation, strong winds, and a spiral arrangement of thunderstorms that produce heavy rain. Extratropical cyclones, sometimes called mid-latitude or wave cyclones, it is the low-pressure areas which, along the anticycles of high-pressure areas, drive the water over much of Earth. Cyclone intensity, indicated by the cyclone's sustained wind speeds and lowest atmospheric pressure. Hurricane is a severe tropical storm with high winds and heavy rains. It is a tropical storm of Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Sea, or Eastern Pacific Sea. Typhoon. It is a giant rotating storm that brings wind and destruction. It is a tropical storm in the region of the Indian or Western Pacific Ocean. Tropical disturbance, a large area of unsettled weather that is typically 200 to 600 kilometers in diameter and has an organized mass of thunderstorm that persists for more than 24 hours. Tropical depression. A disturbance may become a tropical depression if winds increase and spiral around the area of disturbed weather to form a low-pressure center. Tropical storm. Once maximum sustained wind speeds increase to 63 km per hour, the depression is upgraded to a tropical storm and receive a name. Hurricane or typhoon. If winds of a tropical storm increase in speed, it becomes a hurricane or typhoon. Features of a hurricane and typhoon. Rain bands, clouds that spiral around the hurricane or typhoon. Eye wall, innermost band of clouds that has the most intense winds. Effects of cyclones. Flooding, thunderstorm, tornadoes, storm surge, heavy rains, and high winds.
Classification of monsoon according to this activity. But before I proceed our the main topic, let us define first what is monsoon. Monsoon is just a daily heating of land in the summer can bring a sea breeze on coast the reversal of wind direction of the land. As evening callings it in a monsoon is a major wind system that simplifies the result of differential heating of land and sea. Monsoon climate are characterized by dramatic seasonal change and the direction of prevailing wind over a regions brings a marked change in rainfall and leads to distinct and often predictable with dry season. Monsoon according to the Philippines Atmospheric, Geophysical, Astronomical Service Administrations ng Pag-asa, the climate of our country is divided to main season. We have a rainy and dry, with the dry season further subdivided into rainy season from June to November and the dry season from December to May. The rainy season or monsoon are shape of the wind direction which causes excessive rainfall in many parts of the world, including Asia, North and South America, and Africa. A climate that has an apparent seasonal shape of prevailing wind between winter and summer, notably in tropical Asia, Australia, Africa, and the Indian Ocean. Also refers to the regions where there is a clear alternations between winter, dry and summer rainy season. Monsoon rainfall is the lifeblood of more than half the world populations from whom agriculture is the source of livelihood. Extensive research is being conducted to increase our understanding of monsoon predictability. This has the potential to provide significant social economic returns by maximizing the benefit of monsoon rainfall and reducing the impact of extreme events. Also, we have two types of monsoon winds experienced in the Philippines. The number one is northeast monsoon. Northeast monsoon from November to February give cold temperature and causes much rainfall over the eastern coast of the Philippines. And the number two is southwest monsoon from July to September, responsible for a great amount of rainfall during wet season.
Hello everyone, so today I'm going to explain about flooding. Let's start. Flooding. The natural process of a river's overflowing flow is termed flooding. Most river flooding is related to the amount and distribution of a precipitation in the drainage basin, the rate at which the precipitation soaks into the earth, and how quickly the surface runoff from the precipitation that reaches the river. Terms related to flooding. River. Any natural stream of water that flows in a channel with defined banks larger stream. Stream. Any body of water that flows in channel. Drainage basin. Region drained by a single stream of a river. Each stream has its own drainage basin that collects rain and other precipitation. Runoff. Water from rain or snow that flows over the surface of the ground into streams. Types of flooding. Flash floods. Produced by intense rainfall of short duration over a relatively small area. Downstream floods. Cover a wide area and are usually produced by storms of long duration that saturate the soil and produce increased runoff. Effects of flooding. Primary effects: injury, loss of life, damage caused by swift currents, debris and sediment to farms, homes, building, railroads, bridges, road and communication system. Secondary effects caused by disruption and malfunction of services and system because of flood. Short-term pollution of river, hunger, disease, and displacement of persons who have lost their homes.
Tornado. A small diameter column of violently rotating air developed within a convective cloud and in contact with the ground. These whirling atmospheric vortices can generate the strongest wind known on Earth. Wind speed in the range of 500 km per hour have been measured in extreme events. The occurrence and information of tornadoes are products of instability within the Earth air masses and wind system. Wind speeds and destructiveness are measured through the enhanced Fujita scale of tornado intensity. The enhanced Fujita scale rates the intensity of tornadoes in some countries, including the United States and Canada, based on the damage they cause. Yun sa left side is yan na yung rating ng enhanced Fujita scale. Dito naman sa middle is yan na yung wind speed ng tornado. And dyan naman sa right side is yung possible na magiging damage ng tornado. What causes tornado? Tornadoes form when warm, humid air collides with cold, dry air. The denser cold air is pushed over the warm air, usually producing thunderstorm. The warm air rises through the colder air, causing an updraft. When it touches the ground, it becomes a tornado. Types of tornadoes: multiple vortex tornado, water spouts tornado, land spouts tornado, dust devil tornadoes, and gustnado tornado.
Mitigation and adaptation of hydrometeorological hazards. Cyclones, monsoons, and tornadoes. First, we have accurately forecast storms and issue advisories to warn people in their path. So, dapat tama yung pag-forecast or pagbalita sa paparating na sakuna para ma-warn ang people. Next is building codes should be adhered, which means building codes should be followed. Building codes is rules yan siya ng mga gobyerno na dapat yung building na ipapatayo mo is safe sa mga hazard like baha, lindol, or landslide. Next, we have evacuation procedures should be set up. So, dapat yung evacuation procedure is ready na kung ano ang gagawin if nasa gitna ka man ng sakuna or saan ka ba dapat pumunta. Next, we have hazard preparedness, such as short-term activities that individuals and communities once they have been warned of severe weather. So, example ng short-term activities is yung earthquake drills na ginagawa natin sa school. Kumbaga, yung mga possible na mangyari na natural disaster is prepared dapat. Next is education. So, dito naman is dapat mapag-aralan natin yung about dito sa mga sakuna na to at para ma-aware din tayo kung gaano to kadelikado at kung ano rin ang mga dapat nating gawin. Last is insurance programs. So, halimbawa sa school, pag may nangyari na hazard na di expected, tas may mga naapektuhan na students, dapat merong insurance which means ang school ang mananagot sa gastusin. So, dito naman tayo sa floods. First, we have the Geohazard Mapping and Assessment Program as discussed on landslides, mitigation, and adaptation. So, geohazard means yung mga area na prone sa hazards like landslide, baha, lindol. Geohazard mapping and assessment is yan yung kumbaga project na gagawin para mabawasan yung mga possible hazards sa area. Next, we have construction of physical barriers such as concrete flood walls. So, which means is gagawa sila ng barriers such as concrete flood walls na yung ito na yung nagpipigil sa or nagharang sa baha. Next, we have channelization, straightening, deepening, widening, clearing, and lining existing streams. So, channelization means strengthen the walls and the stream and reduce the stream to go through the wall or on the other side of the wall. Next, we have relocating people from flood plains, flood-prone areas. So, which means is relocate or evacuate people into safe areas. So, last we have education. So, same lang dun sa in-explain ko kanina na dapat mapag-aralan natin yung about dito sa hazard na to or floods para ma-aware din tayo kung gaano ba to kadelikado at kung ano rin ang dapat natin gawin kung sakaling magbahaman. So, dito naman tayo sa preparing for flood. First, we have check with your local flood control agency to see if your property is risk from flooding. So, example ng local flood control agency is yung City Disaster Risk Reduction Management. So, magpapacheck ka dun sa kanila kung safe ba yung property mo sa baha. So, next we have make up a flood kit, including a flashlight, blankets, rain gear, battery-powered radio, first aid kit, rubber gloves, and key to personal documents. Keep documents upstairs if possible. So, gagawa ka daw ng flood kit na may mga lamang flashlight, blankets, rain gear, battery-powered radio para kung sakaling mawalan man ng kuryente, magagamit mo ito. At first aid kit, rubber gloves, and key to personal documents. At yung mga importanteng papeles mo is dapat nasa upstairs or sa mataas na bahagi ng bahay nyo para hindi mabasa. So next we have talk about possible flooding with your family and housemates. Consider writing a flood plan and store these notes with your flood kit. So, kakausapin mo yung pamilya mo about sa paparating na baha or sakuna at gumawa ng flood plan at ilagay ito sa flood kit. So, dito naman tayo sa when you learn a flood warning has been issued. First, we have be prepared to evacuate. Dapat nakahanda na yung mga gamit mo para mag-evacuate. Next, we have observe water levels and stay tuned to our radio and television news weather reports. So, dapat obserbahan mo kung gaano na ba kataas yung baha at dapat laging makinig sa mga balita for updates. So, next we have move people, pets, and valuables upstairs or to a higher ground. So, dapat ilipat yung mga tao or pets at mga mahahalang gamit sa higher ground. And next is do as much as possible in daylight. If electricity fails, it will be hard to do anything. So, dapat gawin mo na yung mga dapat mong gawin pag may araw pa dahil mahirap na ito gawin kapag wala ng ilaw. So, last we have keep warm and dry. A flood can last longer than you think and it can get cold. Take warm clothes, blankets, and thermos and food supplies. So, dapat lagi tayong warm and dry para hindi magkasakit. Dahil ang baha is tatagal ito and it can get colder. So, dapat lagi tayong nakakumot or nakasuot ng makakapal na damit. And we also need a thermos and food supply para hindi tayo magutom.
Coastal processes and its effects.
Coastal landforms are created by a wide variety of coastal processes. There are two major processes. Number one is erosion, number two is accretion. Erosion is the geological process in which earth-then materials are worn away and transported by natural forces such as wind or water. Accretion is the gradual increase in the area of land as a result of sedimentation.
How do humans affect the coastal humans environment? Industrial development has altered, disturbed, and destroyed coastal ecosystems, including sensitive habitats. The main impact on marine ecosystems are disturbance and removal of benthic organisms, damage to spawning areas for fish, alteration of the seabed, destabilization of shallow banks, and increased erosion.
Types of coastal hazard.
Wave. Waves are generated by the offshore winds, sometimes thousands of kilometers from where the waves reach the shutterline.
Example of wave.
Row wave. Row wave is a genetic and extremely dangerous wave. As waves move away from their point of origin, they short themselves into set of similarly sized waves. Occasionally, a row wave will be appear that is much larger than the rest. Row wave can strike the shore and somewhere in the open ocean. This type of wave may reach a height of 100 feet.
Example of rogue wave.
Sea level change. The change in sea level is caused by a number of processes. Some operate locally and others affect all the world's oceans. Use static sea level. Relative sea level. Use static sea level, also known as global sea level. It is controlled by processes that affect the overall volume of the water ocean basins. Use static sea levels over decades increases hazard from storm surge and coastal erosion. Ito ay nadadagdagan sa paglipas ng panahon at dahil na rin sa pagdating ng ibang bagyo, lalong tumataas ang mga tubig baybayin. Relative sea level. The position of the sea at the shore, which is influenced by both the movement of the land and movement of the water. Rapid change in relative sea level contribute in coastal flooding and hazardous nearshore current. Ito naman ay isang uri ng pagbabago ng paggalaw ng lupa sa baybayin. Dahil rito, lubang mapanganib din ito dahil nagdudulot ito ng pagbaha lalo na sa mga malalapit na baybay.
Storm surge is the local rise of sea level that results primarily from water that is pushed toward the shore by wind that swirls around the storm. Storm surge is the abnormal rise in sea water level during a storm measured as the height of the water above the normal predicted astronomical tide. Storm surge is caused primarily by the strong winds in a hurricane or tropical storm. The low pressure of the storm has minimal contribution. The wind circulation around the eye of a hurricane blows on the ocean surface and provides a vertical in the ocean. As we can see, storm surge happen quickly and can reach 30 feet or more. Storm surge combined with high tides and wind waves can cause coastal floods.
Saltwater intrusion is the movement of saline water into freshwater aquifers, which can lead to groundwater quality degradation, including drinking water sources and other consequences. Saltwater intrusion can naturally occur in coastal aquifers, owing to the hydraulic connection between groundwater and seawater. Terms in saltwater intrusion: groundwater, the water beneath the surface of the ground, consisting largely of surface water that has seeped down, the source of water in springs and wells. Aquifer, any geological formation containing or conducting groundwater, especially one that supplies the water for wells, springs. Aquifers are naturally replenished by precipitation and surface waters that saturate into the ground.
Mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation and adaptation are the two strategies for addressing climate change. Mitigation is intervention to reduce the emissions source and enhance the sink of greenhouse gases. Adaptation is adjustment in natural or human systems in response to actual or expected climatic stimuli or their effects, which moderates harm or exploits the beneficial opportunity. Evacuation plan and shelters. Flood before build or restock your emergency preparedness kit. During, avoid drinking or walking through flood waters. After, listen to local officials for updates and instructions. Protect your property. Most standard homeowner insurance cover flooding. Stay informed. Utilize a NOAA hazards weather radio and tune into your television stations for the latest forecast and emergency information. Relocating people from effect of coastal erosion and storm surge prone areas. Coastal erosion may be caused by hydraulic action, abrasion, impact, and corrosion by wind and water and other force, natural or unnatural. Storm surge can do major damage to anything or anyone in its path. The extreme rise in water level and strong winds can cause severe flooding, property damage. Education to provide knowledge among individuals and groups to take action to reduce their vulnerability to disaster. Based on some evidence, it is important for vulnerable people to learn about disaster. Prevention of saltwater intrusion. Saltwater intrusion occurs when silent salty water is drawn into the freshwater aquifer. Saltwater intrusion can affect one well or multiple wells in the aquifer, making the water unpotable, unpleasant to drink. People with hypotension should not drink groundwater with a high salt content. The health of plants and fertility of soil can be negatively impacted if irrigated with silent groundwater. Once saltwater intrusion occurs, the change in the aquifer may be permanent or may take many years to recover. So here is our question. What are the effects of hydrometeorological hazard? Let me know at the comment section.